A warm welcome to Disky Talk with Luyolo. If you're tuning in for the very first time, I do ask that you please subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you've been a part of this journey, I hope you thoroughly enjoy this episode. So, on today's episode, I discuss all things CAF Champions League as Ahly take on Wydad. So coming up then into this episode. So this is then a pre-match analysis of the CAF Champions League final. So the red team will represent Ahly and then the blue team will represent Wydad. So when you have a look at Ahly then under PITSO MOSIMANE, they have been playing with various formations, but mostly it being then either a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. So coming up then into this encounter, it is also key to note that the last time then Ahly did play in the league, they did win 2-1, and Ali Maloul did score a brace at the death, and a lot of their key players weren't playing. So one then would assume that those key players will be back for the final. So let's have a look at it then. In goals, they do have El Shanawai. This is then their leader, and they're very, very experienced captain as well, as he has been playing for this Ahly side within the CAF Champions League for so many years, and he's also won the CAF Champions League multiple times. And then when you have a look then at the back four, we'll start with the left back. At left back, you do have Ali Maloul. So when you have a look at Ali Maloul, he becomes key then with regards to offering the width on the left-hand side for this Ahly side. He's also got very good technical ability, as he does look then to deliver those balls into the box whenever then he does find himself within advanced pockets of space on the left wide channel, where then he's looking then to deliver those crosses into the box. And then when you have a look then at their two centre backs. So as the left-sided centre back, I do foresee Yasir Hanafi starting. Another option then, you also got Ashraf, who is a left-sided defensive player. So for ball progression and a player playing on his natural side, you do have Ashraf as an option. But I do see Yasir starting, as he has been one of the most consistent, if not the most consistent centre-backs for this Ahly side. As a right-sided centre-back, I do see Abdul Monem starting as a right-sided centre-back. This is then a very strong defensive player, and very good on the ball, as he does then at times look to switch play. So he's also got very good technical ability with regards to the diagonals that he can play. So when play then is overloaded on the right-hand side, he does then at times look to play the diagonal ball, looking for Ali Maloul, who looks to bomb on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, you do then have Mohamed Heni. So with Mohamed Heni, this is then a complete fullback from an offensive and a defensive perspective. But his strongest attribute then, I would say that he is defensively very sound in 1v1 situations. And then whenever the game does open up, he does become key with regards to looking to offer the width for this Ahly side on the right wide channel, where then at times he can look to deliver those balls into the box. And the nice thing then about him is his game intelligence. So at times he does hold a deeper pocket of space on the right-hand side, so he doesn't always look to bomb forward. But when that pocket of space within the advanced wide channel on the right-hand side does open up, then he does look then to progress. And then when you have a look at the midfield, this is where it gets very interesting, because we'll have a look at it then from a 4-2-3-1 perspective, and then from a 4-3-3 perspective. So when you do have a look at it then, we'll start with the 4-2-3-1. So if they do go with the 4-2-3-1, you could then have Fatih in there, who is then their defensive midfielder, who is then also very experienced as well. And then you could have Alou Dieng, then playing then in a double pivot. With Alou Dieng then, we do know that he's one of the best midfielders within Africa, and this is then quite a complete midfielder, because then he does go box to box, he can break down play, and he's also then got these mazy solo runs where he can pick up the ball from deep within midfield, and he can look to go on a solo run where then he can look to finest players, and he's also then got those penetrative passes where then he can look to split the defense as well. So this is then a key player for this Al Ahly side within the heart of midfield. And then they have been going then with a very fluid front 3/4, because then when they have played a 4-2-3-1 off the left-hand side, they do have Abdelkader, who has been starting off the left-hand side. You've had Percy, you've had Tahir Mohamed, and then you've also had El Shahat. But a lot of the times then you would have El Shahat looking then to actually come off the right-hand side, and then you'd have Percy and Tahir being the two who would occupy up front. But it is then a very fluid front 3/4 whenever they do approach the game in this manner, because then they do look to have those positional rotations and that positional play then where they are looking then to break into the final third through lots of mobility, especially then when you look at Percy, a player then who becomes key with regards to playing off the shoulder of the last defender who can go in behind. And when you look at Percy, this is a player then who's been in fine form within the latter stages of the CAF Champions League. He scored quite a couple of goals, and he's also assisted quite a couple of goals as well. So he does come up into this final as a key player for this Al Ahly side. However, then they do also have their main man up front in Sharif. If PITSO MOSIMANE does decide then to go with a target man, Sharif could start. You could have Percy coming off the one side. Then you could have Al Shad coming off the other side. But because it is a final, then I do foresee them going with a three-man midfield. So I do foresee them playing a 4-3-3. And that is also, of course, subject to if Al Sulaya is available. So if Al Sulaya is available, I do foresee them going with the 4-3-3 within the heart of midfield to ensure then that they can control the heart of midfield, and they can ensure then that they control the game. Because once you've got control of the heart of midfield, you've got control of the game itself. So with the midfield three, then I do foresee Fati, El Sulaya, and then Diang, and then there are three up front. I do foresee then Percy, Abdelkader, and then El Shahat. If not, then you could then have Sharif up front, and then you could have El Shahat coming off the left, and then you could have Percy coming off the right, who will then be looking to drift in and look then to occupy zone 14 and the box a lot more, as he is in fine form. With this Al Ahly side, they will be looking then to press high up at times when the game does allow. However, I think coming up into the final, I think the most important aspect of Al Ahly's game is looking then to ensure that they're able to control the tempo, and they're able then to control this game. And game management will be key then for this Al Ahly side, as I do foresee it being I do foresee it being a very tightly contested final, and a final where it won't be too open. And I do also foresee Al Ahly having the lion's share of possession for certain periods of the game and key phases of the game. And because then this Wydad side, whenever then they have come up against a side that is technically superior, a lot of the times what they do is they do sit deep within low and mid blocks, and they would then sit in somewhat of a 4-1-4-1, which becomes very compact. So you'd see them sitting like that. At times then it would be even become a 4-5-1, where they're looking then to sit within those low to mid blocks, and they're looking then to manage the lateral and vertical spaces in between the lines, ensuring then that this Al Ahly side aren't able to penetrate through them, forcing them wide, and whenever then they do go wide, ensuring that they're able to close those pockets of space where then their wide men can't get those crosses, and eventually then forcing them back. So with Wydad, I do foresee them sitting deep and looking then to transition offensively and then hit this Al Ahly side on the counter-attack with the speed they have in the wide areas. However, let's then have a look at the personnel and the approach from Wydad. So when you do have then a look at Wydad, this is a team then that did manage to overcome Petro de Luanda within the semi-final, and I think they won that game away from home, where they did very, very well in Angola, where they managed to score 3 away goals. So when you do have a look at them, then they do play then with a 4-5-1, at times a 4-1-4-1. basically then a three-man midfield. At times, they can also play with the 4-2-3-1. But let's have a look at it then from this perspective. So in goals then, with this Wydad side, you've got Tegnuti. This is then a very physically imposing goalkeeper. He's very big, very tall. He's very commanding. He controls his defense very well, and a very good shot stopper and organizer as well. When you have a look at the back four then, at right back, you've got Amloud. So when you have a look at Amloud, this is a right back who does look to get forward, and a right back then who's got very good technical ability with regards to his crosses, and at times he does look to play those deep crosses where then he is looking for Mbenza. And then when you have a look at the two centre backs, you do then have Dari as the right-sided centre-back, and then you do have Farhan as the other centre-back. So with Farhan, then this is then a centre-back then who is very commanding within the box and aerially very strong. So with regards to defending his box and also then attacking the opposition box, as he has scored within the CAF Champions League, so he is then an aerial threat and a threat from set pieces for this Wydad side. And then as the left-back, they do then have Allow plays then as off the left-hand side. So with him then, he does also look to get forward and offer width for this Wydad side. And then moving then within the heart of midfield, they've got Jabrane, who is their captain. This has been a very key component of Wydad within the CAF Champions League. He's been very solid within the heart of midfield, and against Petro de Luanda, he did score that phenomenal goal. So this is then a player then who does look to control the midfield. So whenever then Wydad are in possession, he looks to start play deep within the heart of midfield, and very key then with regards to organizing whenever then Wydad look to sit deep within their defensive blocks, within those low and mid blocks as well. And then when you have a look at the other two midfielders, so you do then have Hassouni, who is then a key player because he is their playmaker. He's a very creative player, and a player then who's got an eye for goal, who does tend to break into the final third. And then as the other midfielder then, you do have Hamoud. That is then a player then who is quite key then with regards to ensuring that this Wydad side are able then to progress the ball within those tight pockets of space. However, then they do also have Daoud within the heart of midfield, who can also then start within the heart of midfield. Another player that they do have then is Sarat, who then can look to make it a double pivot if they do go with the 4-2-3-1. And then you would have then Hassouni, who would look then to go as a number 10. So that is from a 4-2-3-1 perspective. That's also then from this 4-3-3 perspective, or 4-1-4-1 perspective, with a three-man midfield for this Wydad side. And then off the right-hand side, they do have Awok, who's a very quick winger then, who does look then to offer this Wydad side a lot of speed, especially then when it comes to those quick breaks and looking then to hit this Al Ahly side on the counter-attack. And then off the left-hand side, you do have Mutaraji, who is then also a left winger and a player then who has scored a couple of goals for this Wydad side. So he is quick, he is a winger, he's creative, and he can also score goals as well. And then up front, you do have Guy Mbenza. So with Mbenza then, this is one of their key players then, especially considering how then he looks to hold up the ball for this Wydad side. And he's also got very good link-up play. And of course, then he is their main man up front who does score the goals as well. So when you then look at this Wydad side, there are the players then who, if they don't start, they can always then come into the game. So you do have Daoud, who can come into the heart of midfield. You do have Sarat, who can also come into the heart of midfield. You've got El Hafi as well, who is a creative player and a winger as well, who can look then to bring that creative spark for this Wydad side coming off the bench. So that is then Wydad with regards to their key players, how they look to play. But how I foresee this one playing out, I do foresee then Al Ahly having more ball possession. I do foresee them then also having more control within this game. However, I do foresee then Al Ahly winning this game 1-0. However, at home, do let me know who will walk away as the CAF Champions League winner. Will it be Wydad or will it be Al Ahly? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in to yet another special episode of Diski Talk with Luyolo. If you did enjoy this one, please do subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment, and give me a super thanks as well. So it is then the CAF Champions League final as Al Ahly take on Wydad. Signing out.